Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to go through a very important function in Excel. If I have to talk about days function where I have to use anything regarding date for my trend analysis or data cleaning, this is one of the function that I use probably 50 or 60% of the time out of the entire date function that I have used till now. So this function that I'm going to talk about is datedif, which is in a full form, if I have to talk about, is it date difference. Yeah. Previously, in a earlier videos that we have seen days and days 360, which gives uh, only the days, number of days, that is difference between two dates. Yeah. So it gives output in the form of days. But suppose you want output in the form of days, also months, or in years, then this is the most important function that you need to go to. So date diff function evaluates the differences between a start date and an end date, and that difference could be in the terms of days, months, or year. Yeah. So it can be used to, for an example, it could be used to calculate how long an employee has been employed for their from the hire date until today, or a student age, or my duration of my financial investments, or probably tenure of a particular contract or tenure of some of your people working down the line. Yeah. So it's very important, and it's being widely used because it has a lot of flexibility towards getting the difference in terms of days, months, or year. Yeah. So the syntax for date diff is date diff open brackets. Then you need to give the start date, then the end date, which would be the latest date. End date will always be the latest date. And then there's one important thing that you need to specify is the unit. Unit is whether it is year, months, or days. We'll see what all units are available. So this is basically used to find the difference between two dates, similar as we had for days and days 360. But the major difference that it has, it you can have any kind of time frame. So the unit that you specify can be Y, which is specified for year, could be M, which is specified for month, and D for days. So, and there are various combination as well, like MD. So it indicates difference between the days in two defined dates mentioned in the first two arguments, start date and year, end date. The month and years are avoided. Yeah. Same way for YM, it represents the difference between months in two defined dates mentioned in the first two arguments, and the days and years are avoided. Same way for YD. Okay, let's see some of the things that we have done earlier in terms of date diff. Now, suppose I want to find the difference between today's date. Suppose I have this today's date is equal to today. Okay, so today's date is this one. Oh, sorry, you're not able to see it. So here is today's date. Let me make it. Okay, so that is 13/5/2025. And we have 10th of April 2025 in the cell A4. Now, suppose I want to get a difference between these two dates. Yeah. So let's see what is the difference that it gives. So I say days. We have date diff. Then you need to give the start date, which is the older date. So April is the older date, 2025. Vis-a-vis May is the latest date. Yeah. Comma. How do you want to see it? This is where your unit comes into picture. So if I specify D, it should give me days. Yeah. Same way, if I specify M, it gives me 1 month. Yeah. Let me make the difference a bit more by extending April to December 24. So we have a good difference. Okay, you can see the number of months. Let me make it. Yeah, number of months is 6. So difference between these two dates, the in terms of month is 6 months. If I have to talk about year, it gives me 0 because it's only 6 months. So if I make this year to 2023, then it will give me 1 year. Yeah, 1 point some year because, yeah, it gives me 1 year. Yeah. Same way, let's try with other uh, units that we have. So we have MD. Let's see what's the output. You can see it gives me, it indicates the difference between the days in two defined dates, and the months and year are avoided. So you can see there is 14 and 10. So it deducts the number of days between these 2 days and it gives me 4 days. The months are and years are not considered. Same way, if we do it for YM, here it will give you 6, which is the difference between the number of months. So 5th month and the 11th month. So it is 6 months away. Same way, if I have to do check for YB, that's the last one, 186, which indicates the difference between days in two defined dates, yeah, as we specified, and the only the year is avoided, wherein month and date is considered. Accordingly, the number of days are provided here. So it gives you number of days irrespective of the years that are being there in between them. Yeah. So you can see 11th month and the 5th month, so the difference is around 6 months, which is 6 into 30. If you see 186, it comes around 186 days. Okay. So what you need to remember here is a date diff gives you a difference between days, month, and year according to the unit that you specify. Yeah. Special things are the MD, YM, and the YD units, which shows you the relevant days, avoiding certain month or year or days and years, depending on the kind of unit that you specify. Just to show you once again, because people hardly know about this 3 things. So MD indicates difference between days, and it will not look into the month and year. So it should give me only 4. That is 14 minus 10. That is 4. Okay. Next is YM. I'm repeating this again because these are hardly used. People do not know about it, and I feel you should know about it. So it represent difference in the months. Yeah. So it will give you the difference in number of months irrespective of the year or days that it has. So you can see there is 2023 to 2025. It is a long, if you see, you'll get a bigger number or number of months are more. So there is 11, 12 of 23 and 1 year of 24 and 4 months of 25. Ideally, it should give you around 17 months, but it is ignoring the year. Yeah, ignoring the year and the days, and it will give you only the months. If I missed anything, yeah, double quotes. Can see it is giving you only the difference between the month. That's 11 and 5. That is 6 months. Same way, last is YD, which gives you difference in terms of days, but it will avoid only years. So it will consider the month and the date to give you the output. It is 186. Okay. Now there are points that you need to remember, that this function is used to facilitate backward compatibility and must not be utilized. Yeah. If you directly enter dates in start date and end date, then dates must be. So if I enter dates here directly, like 5, 11 or 5, 14, 2025, then it needs to be enclosed within double quotes. Yeah. So that to consider it as a date. So 11, 10, 2023 and double quotes. Okay. It's a num error because the start date is much bigger than the end date. So I need to have the end date bigger than the start date, then it will give me the answer. Okay. So you need to be careful that the start date, end date is greater than the start date, or it will give you a num error. So if I try to just make the changes, you see, it will give you a num error if my end date is start date is greater than the end date. Even if you put an invalid end date or invalid start date, it will give you a value error. So if I try to have this datedif, yeah, and I have this invalid date, comma, today, which is today's date, and I'll say days, it will give me a value error. Yeah. Even if I do it for earlier end date, it will still give me a value error. So you need to be careful what kind of date that you're using within your function. It should not be a text. Also, if the units that I have specified, so let me just change this. Let me have it for proper date. Okay. Now the unit, suppose I do not have X and I put this as a unit of giving me a difference, it will give me a num error because it's an incorrect way of representing the units. Okay. So these are some of the important things that you need to remember while you are using datedif function. And these are the kind of errors that people do encounter when they use some incorrect dates or incorrect units while using the datedif function. Just to summarize, datedif function is used to find the difference between two dates in the terms of days, month, or year. It could be anything depending on the unit that you specify. Hope I was able to make this concept clear on datedif, and this is very important function. It's a one of the advanced functions. So I feel I was able to make this list and making you understand about this function. Hope you like this video. Do like it, share it across with your colleagues who want to learn Excel. Uh, Comment if you want me to cover any of the topics in this 365 days of Excel journey. And yes, do not forget to subscribe to my channel because that's how you're going to get all these videos directly to your inbox. And yes, and also it will keep me motivated towards creating free content for all my audience. Thank you so much.